In a previous video, we talked about Subaru's direct fuel injection system. We also talked about Subaru and Toyota's D4S system that combines port and direct fuel injection. In those videos, we talked about theory operation and pros and cons of direct fuel injection. The biggest con being intake valve carbon deposits and how they form because of the lack of the port injectors firing the solvent gasoline onto the intake valves continuously to keep them clean and keep the deposits from forming. So one comment that I kept seeing pop up over and over again in the comment section on that video was, well, Mr. Subaru, how in the world do we stop these deposits from happening? And once they have happened, how do we clean them out of there? Well, in today's video, we're going to look at this. This is an engine cleaning kit from Subaru, straight from the parts department. You can buy it at your local dealership or you can buy it online. I'll leave links in the description of the video below. It's a three-part system to help keep your direct fuel injection or port fuel injected vehicle running as cleanly as possible. In today's video, we're going to go through and demonstrate using this three-part system on my 2013 Crosstrek. So with that said, let's go ahead and take a look at what comes in the kit, talk about what we need to do with each component that comes in the kit, and then we will go do a live demonstration on the car. All right, so let's take a closer look at our three-piece engine maintenance kit. You get one bottle of the PEA carbon cleaner. This is a fuel additive. All you have to do is open your gas cap, add it to a full tank of fuel. Next, you've got an aerosol can of throttle plate and induction cleaner. It's just a spray can that is both catalyst and oxygen sensor safe for cleaning any carbon buildup from your throttle body plate and the bore. Lastly is the top engine cleaner, carbon remover. This really needs to be used in conjunction with this tool. Now, my Subaru dealership, for whatever reason, didn't have this tool in stock and acted like it wasn't something they could get. But I did find it online and order it from Subaru Parts Deals. It used to be on Amazon, but I couldn't find it there. If I do find it, I'll leave that in the link in the description below as well. The tool was $28.51. With shipping and tax, it was $37.83. This kit, if I did not mention earlier, is right about $30 by itself as well. So part numbers on this cleaning kit is SOA 868V9341, and part number for the siphon tool for the carbon cleaner is SOA 868V9430. So with that out of the way, let's get out to the car and put this three-piece system to work. All right, to start off, we're going to remove our throttle body and clean it. We'll take the 8mm clamp loose here at the air box. We'll take it loose here at the throttle body. Got a small push pin here. Take loose. With that out of the way, we should be able to take the intake hose off. You have a PCV hose under here. We don't need to remove it. We can just move this with it still attached over and out of the way. But for you guys, I'm going to go ahead and remove it so you can see better. Now that that's out of our way, we've got two coolant lines to deal with, and we've got an electrical connector on the side of the throttle body. All we got to do is squeeze that connector and pull it loose. Use some pinch off pliers for the coolant line. Move the hose clamp. You will spill some coolant here. It's not really a big concern though. There is one on the other side. Clamp that one off as well. Remove the hose clamp. Then we can remove both hoses. A little bit of coolant will spill out. These hoses might be stuck on here. after being on there for so long. Pop off the one and pop off the other. Once that's out of the way, you can remove the 10mm headed bolts holding the throttle body to the intake manifold. There's 4 of them. Now it is advised that you get a throttle body gasket before doing this. Most of the time the throttle body gasket will seal right back up perfectly fine, but there's always a chance that it won't, and then you're gonna have an air leak there, and you'll get a lean code from air getting sucked in behind the throttle plate and in front of the intake manifold. So just be wary of that before taking the throttle body off to clean it. It's a good idea to have a new gasket ready to go on. And throttle body is now off. So now that we've got the throttle body off, we can see that my throttle body is quite clean. I believe I took it off and did a throttle body cleaning when I purchased the car a little over a 1.5 years ago. So when you're looking at your throttle body, the backside will be dirty. That's not a concern. Carbon buildup on the backside of the butterfly is not a concern. The area of concern is this. It is the outer edge of the butterfly, and it's also the bore on the inside. You'll get a little ridge of carbon in here and up top, and that is where your issue is. That's the whole issue, is as that carbon builds up, it restricts that air at idle from going through that small crack at the top and the bottom. That's where you want to clean. That's where you want to focus your attention on, is cleaning that outer bore and the edges of the throttle plate. Scrubbing dark carbon off the backside of the throttle plate isn't going to perform any kind of help to you or help to the way the engine runs. So don't waste your cleaner cleaning all this stuff off. Work around the bore and the throttle blade. All right, so before I get this question over and over again in the comment section, yes, you can manually open an electronic throttle body. It's not going to hurt it. You do not want to extend it past its normal range of movement, but you can open and close it perfectly fine for cleaning. Now what you want to do is spray your cleaner in there. You want to take a nice nylon brush or an old toothbrush and really scrub around there with that cleaner. Just make sure you get it nice and clean. That's all you really got to do, and then we'll be ready to put it back on the engine. All right, and just like that, our cleaning is done. And man, this is some really high-powered, potent stuff. Make sure you work in a well-ventilated area and do not be near any flame or open heat source, because this stuff will put some hair on your chest, or take it off, or both. I'm not exactly sure. So this is what we're going for. Nice, shiny silver on the outer edge of the butterfly, and nice, shiny silver inside the bore there. No little rings of carbon. This is now fully clean and ready to bolt back onto the car. All 4 throttle body bolts are the same length, so no need to worry about which goes where. Snug down the bolts evenly, then torque them to 8 Newton meters. Now reinstall the coolant lines to the throttle body. clean up any spilled coolant. Plug the electrical connector back into the throttle body. Then reinstall the air inlet. Reinstall your little push pin and tighten down both of the clamps. Now the throttle body is reinstalled, you need to start your engine and run it until operating temperature is achieved. Now, depending on how dirty your throttle body was, you may need to do an idle relearn during this time. I'll link that up here to a video on doing idle relearns on electronic throttle body Subarus. So we're gonna go ahead and start the Crosstrek up now and let it idle and get fully up to temperature. Now the engine is fully up to temperature, shut it off. All right, now that the engine is off, locate this vacuum line. It is right by the throttle body, directly on top of the intake manifold. You reach down here, pop it loose, and swing it up. This is where you want to attach the cone from the cleaning tool. Put the cone in there nice and tight. Make sure your valve is in the off position on the tool, and of course, thread your bottle of cleaner onto the tool. Once we start the engine, we're going to give it a few seconds for idle to stabilize. Once it does, we're going to turn our valve and start feeding our cleaner into the engine. It might bog down a little bit, but that's normal. We're going to watch for about 1/3 of the bottle to be sucked up. Once that's done, we're going to close the valve, go back in the car, and raise idle to about 2,000 to 2,500 RPM and get some of that cleaner burnt up and let it come back down to a normal idle again. Once it stabilizes, we'll come back out and repeat the process 2 more times until the bottle is empty. The bottle is semi-translucent, so I use a flashlight to be able to more clearly see where the level of fluid is in the bottle. All right, that's about 1/3 of the bottle there. We'll close our valve back off, go into the car, and raise the RPM as I said earlier. So it's normal to see some smoke come out of the tailpipe during this time of raising the RPM. If you notice the engine kind of bogged down a little bit, it puffs some smoke, and then after a few seconds of higher RPM running, it smoothed out. Once it starts smoothing out and the smoke subsides, you can bring the idle back down and start the process over again, feeding more cleaner into the engine. Now, as you saw, the engine stalled out this time. It might happen. When you have that happen, you want to full floor the throttle. Have it completely open before you start it. Crank it a little bit with the throttle wide open for a clear flood mode. Once that's done, remove your foot from the gas pedal. So we're gonna do a clear flood mode start now. Engine started, we'll let it stabilize in its idle. Now we'll give a little bit of RPM to help move that cleaner out of the combustion chamber, and we see lots of smoke coming out of the tailpipe, again, which is normal. Continue to have the RPM elevated to 2,500 to 3,000 RPM until that smoke starts to subside from the tailpipe. All right, our smoke subsided. Now we can go ahead and finish off the bottle. Be sure to keep an eye on the bottle because when it gets down to the very bottom, it can start sucking air and cause the engine to stall. So just make sure that you cut the bottle's valve off before it gets all the way out of cleaner. All right, repeat your high RPM clear out of the smoke again. Once that's done, we'll shut the engine off, we'll reattach the vacuum line as it should be and take it for a nice test drive and make sure we get it up to temperature good, highway speed for quite a few minutes and get all that smoke to subside from the tailpipe. All right, now our smoke has subsided. We've got a decent idle. We'll go ahead and shut the engine off. We did have a check engine light come on due primarily to feeding the cleaner in there. We've likely got a rich code. I wouldn't really be worried about that. It should go out on its own, but we will check it with the scan tool after we get back from our test drive. So now that that's done, we can go ahead and remove our nozzle here, our little cone, take our cleaner, put that aside, and hook this vacuum line back up. And now we can go for a test drive. All right, and we are back from the test drive. Went for about a 10-minute drive at highway speeds. All of the smoke subsided from the tailpipe, and we've got a nice smooth idle now. So that service is checked off complete. Our check engine light is still on. I have not scanned it yet, but I assume it is a system rich code due to the injection of the cleaner. I will scan the car and I will put the code on the screen for you now so you can see what it is. But I'm not concerned about it myself. So the third thing to finish up this three-piece service is the fuel system cleaner. Now, I've got just over half a tank of fuel. You really need to add this to a full tank of fuel. So I'm gonna take this with me to the gas station, put it in my tank, and then top up the tank, and that will complete all three services. Now, I know this is a pretty simple three-part service, and I know I might make it look very easy or oversimplify it at times, but if you are not mechanically minded, technically minded, I would advise you not to attempt this service yourself. Take it to the Subaru dealership or to a qualified independent technician. The reason I say this is because if you do this wrong, you can severely damage your engine. Mainly the upper engine cleaner. You can hydrolock your engine, you can damage valves, pistons, rods, etc., to the tune of having to replace your entire engine. just because you didn't do the service correctly. Now, with that said, I would strongly advise you to buy the $30 tool if you are going to go ahead and attempt to do that service. That tool is important for two very good reasons. One, the valve on top helps restrict the flow of the cleaner and lets you more carefully restrict it and meter that fluid as it goes into the engine. Putting too much in too quickly can hydrolock the engine, as I just stated. Two, the little cone on the end of the tool. This is important because it helps to atomize that cleaner as it's drawn in under vacuum. Atomizing the cleaner makes it distribute more thoroughly in the intake tract, and it helps it to burn easier. So just taking a piece of vacuum hose and dipping it in the bottle is a no-go. It's going to pull too much cleaner, and it's going to pull liquid cleaner instead of atomized aerosol cleaner. So guys, that'll do it for the video. Hopefully it helped you out. As I said before, links will be in the description of the video for this cleaner and the tool. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.